Scott. This is Ian.
Ooh, yay.
Should you do competitions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
Just kidding.
All right, so I'm Scott Brink. I'm fourth year CSEC. I'm tech lead. I'm a swimmer here. I worked for IBM over the summer. I've done a bunch of competitions. And competitions, you don't need to come in with a ton of knowledge, especially as freshmen. I came in with literally zero tech knowledge, and I've participated in as many competitions as I can.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Ian. I am a third year CSEC student. I am a vice president at Next Talk. You guys should come to our meetings. They're awesome, especially for the freshmen because you win lots. And it really helps out at these competitions. So I really like security and systems administration stuff. And I worked at Semantic last summer. It was pretty cool. I've got a whole bunch of interests. You guys can read those or not. I also have done a couple of competitions, mainly RITSEC, ISTS, and RITSEC, which is the Next Talk competition. And I came in with very, very basic tech knowledge, which
I didn't know what a for loop was,
yeah.
and I still don't.
And he's your tech lead.
Yeah. So what is a red team, blue team competition? We'll get into more exact in a second, but the very short version, red team is a bunch of attackers, and blue team is you're defending. Usually, a lot of the competitions we have here, you're mainly blue team. Some of them you can do some red team stuff as well, but most of the competitions are blue team. So you're defending against a bunch of red teamers trying to break into your box.
So there are a lot of reasons why you should compete, but the main ones are really learning new things. I went into ISTS last year, and I got completely locked out of one of my boxes, and then I learned that you can use Grub to reset your root password, and that saved my butt a couple times.
Our butts.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, more than just one.
Yeah. And then you also get to talk with a lot of sponsors, and they have a huge potential to be some of your employers, because if they've come back to RIT to sponsor events, it means that they like the program, they like what we're doing, and they want to hire people.
Every single job interview that I've ever done, they've talked about the competitions that I have on my resume. They are extremely big resume builders. And picture right there, that's something called the Blue Team Field Manual. It's like $10 on Amazon, and it's a really nice resource to just have a bunch of just like basic commands. Like, how do I show firewall stuff in Windows? You just go to the section, and it's right there.
Would recommend.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about some of the different types of teams. You'll hear a lot of things. You'll hear like black, white, gray, blue, red, all these colors. So, for example, we're going to talk about black and white team. What they do, they run the competition. They set everything up. They're the people you ask questions for, or you ask questions to.
So the red team are the ones that either we bring in or we have some of the higher level students here attack your boxes. And they attack the networks and services in order to bring them down. And one of the huge things is trolling the blue teams. I had one of my Linux boxes turned into Flappy Bird last year. No more CentOS, just Flappy Bird. It was unfortunate.
They made me sing the duck song last year, too.
Yeah. I think there's still a video of that somewhere.
I
So their goal isn't really just to sit there and screw you over. It's to help you learn a whole bunch of new things. And they're definitely going to get you to do that.
So now we're going to talk about blue team, which for a lot of competitions you'll be on blue team. So blue team, your whole goal, you want to keep your services running. You'll have like your database server, your mail server, and the red team will be trying to take that down. So when they mess with your systems, you have to try to bring those systems back up and keep them from destroying your box.
So some of the other stuff that blue teams have to do is in a lot of competitions we have stuff called injects, and they're different objectives that the white, black, gray teams give us to complete, and then we can get extra points later. So this can involve setting up a specific server or writing a report on a bunch of different things.
Or it could even be one of the competitions we did. I was brought into a room by 3 people from MITRE, and they were telling me, oh, why are our services down, acting like the CEOs of the company? And we'll get to how that interaction went later. But so now we're going to go through some tips for the blue teamers.
We stole these straight from Kyle's post. And
Yeah,
Workspace, but
Kyle posted this yesterday. And so he posted this yesterday in the competitions group, I believe.
I saw it.
And pretty much it has 5 things. You want to go into it with a plan. You don't want to just go in and be like, oh, well, there are a bunch of boxes now. I guess I'm going to take these ones. Like, I always come in, I'll do Linux. He'll be on Windows. We'll have another guy on networking. Maybe we have a couple guys on Linux, a couple of this. You'll get a blue team packet, which will describe what the competition is going to be like prior to the competition. So you meet with your team and you talk about that.
As soon as you get that packet, it's really good to just sit down, meet with your team, and go over what you want the competition to look like, what your goals are, and start working out a 5-minute plan, which is the first 5 minutes once you get into the competition. What you're going to do and how you're going to do it.
So that also falls into the prepare like crazy. Morale wins when you get locked out of a bunch of your boxes, when a bunch of the stuff is broken. It's going to happen. No one is going to keep red team out. It's going to happen, so getting super stressed and be like, oh no, like we're not in first place or any of that, that doesn't matter. If you have a good attitude about it, it will help you out way more in the long term.
That and red team has all of their stuff scripted, so as soon as you go into the competition, they're already in your boxes by the time you sit down and run it, because they have that all set to go as soon as they push one button.
And the last one we're talking about, well, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't firewall off a bunch of stuff. 2 years ago, one of the competitions, about half of everyone's Windows machines were down. And the person who was focusing on that, he said, yeah, none of that was actually me. You guys all just kept like ending your own processes and destroying your own box. So know what your normal use is for that computer. And in the end, it doesn't matter if you come in first place, last place. That's why it's win in quotation marks. You're going to win because you're going to come out, you're going to know a lot more, you're going to learn a ton of stuff. The first competition I did was ISTS my sophomore year, and I got absolutely destroyed, and it was the best 2 or 3 days that I'd ever had at the school up to that point. Because I had learned way more in that competition than I had in anything else.
I had the same experience with ISTS. We got absolutely wrecked that entire weekend. We started out up on top of the leaderboard, and we stayed there for a little bit, and then around lunch on that first day, we took a big dive, and the recovery wasn't swift at all.
More tips.
So it's really important to keep it simple. If you start getting wrapped up in a lot of details, then you're going to start bogging yourself down and you're not going to make any progress. So you can step back, focus on some higher level stuff, and then work on it bit by bit.
So keep it professional. We're going to go back to when I was brought into the room by 3 people who all worked for MITRE, by the way. And so they were saying, why are our services down? So I said, red team. And they said, red team? That sounds like the Russians. And it kind of devolved, and at one point he may have said, should I deport my wife because she's a Russian? And I didn't say no. I said it wouldn't hurt. So I told someone from MITRE to deport his wife to Russia. So don't do that.
So, like I mentioned earlier, don't be afraid to take a few minutes to relax. In the middle of the competition, I know I've had to go out, take a walk around the Simone Center where we host a bunch of them, and go, okay, deep breath, and then come back in it with a fresh mindset. Because once you go out of it, you're going to come back and you're going to see a bunch of different new things that you might not have spotted the first time.
Yeah. If you just stay there and keep getting more and more stressed, your morale is going to go down, and it just won't be as fun. The whole point of it is you should learn, and it should be fun. So if you're getting overly stressed about it, you're not doing it right. And now we're going to talk about CCDC tryouts. So later today we're going to talk, or someone's going to have a talk on the CCDC infrastructure. It's going to be the coach and the co-captain? Assistant coach for CCDC tryouts. It doesn't matter if you haven't done this before. They're open tryouts. They'll talk about it more. You should go to these. There have been freshmen that have been on the CCDC team. Freshmen, yeah. but there was more than one. But there have been freshmen that have made it onto the CCDC team, and that can happen again too. It doesn't matter if you're a first year or a fourth year. You can go to these tryouts, you can learn a ton of stuff.
All right, so anybody have any questions?
So, what do you think some like the major like team killers are for teams? If you see like that team is doing it wrong, like what are they doing?
Lack of communication.
Or yelling at each other. Both of those go in the same thing.
Because I saw my first year at RITSEC when I was watching people do the competitions, they weren't talking to each other on their team, like another team that was like right next to us, they were silent. Where if you looked at our team and a couple other teams, we're talking the entire time through. We're making sure everyone is clear what is happening. We get an inject, we say, okay, this goes to this person, and they will get it in this time period. Just very clear communication.
What are some competitions you can do in the fall? All out.
I know. So there are a couple competitions. There is UB Lockdown, which is in University of Buffalo. It's about an hour away. I believe we can send 2 teams there. There'll be more. And by the way, on Workplace, there's the, what is it called? Competitions group. And any competitions we'll be posting in there as well. UB, there's CPTC as well. Are there any other competitions? Yeah.
IBM Vault.
Oh yeah, IBM Vault and CTF. Is that what you're saying?
Well, CTF is not red team, blue team,
Yeah.
but everybody here should do the CTF. 'Cause it's awesome. So now that I'm done plugging, there's something that I wanted to bring up, I haven't brought up yet. The U.S. Department of Energy is holding this thing called the Cyber Force competition.
Oh, God.
Dang, buzzwordy. So, I've never heard about it. I just got an email about it for a couple days ago, but they're holding it at a ton of different locations, like all of the national laboratories, if you want to look them up. Closest one's in Brookhaven, New York. Yeah. Registration opened up September 3rd, and it goes till the 28th, but you can only have one team per school. So
Post about it in competition.
I'm going to post about it in competition. It sounds like a combination of NSIC and ISTS.
That
So,
sounds like a lot of fun.
pretty neat.
Oh, really hyping that up.
All right,
More questions?
any other questions?
The book you showed, like second
Yes.
slide, the blue team one.
Went too far.
There we go.
Is there like a red team?
Yes, there's a red team field manual as well.
Okay.
And
Is
it's
there a
red
black
instead of blue.
Black team theme. Black team needs help too.
We don't have manuals anymore there.
We write it our
Oh,
own.
that's ACL. That's
Any more questions?
that's just a capsule file.
No? Cool. Feel free to reach out to us, and feel free to reach out to pretty much if you know someone's on the CCDC team, I bet they will be willing to talk to you about it. So yeah.
Raise your hand in here if you've done a red-blue competition.
Yes, that's a good question.
Oh, so just look around and find someone that looks friendly and go ask them questions.
Oh, I didn't raise my hand. I've done it.
All right, cool. Thank you guys.